Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sree's daily global COVID-19 show. I'm Sree Sreenivasan. I'm the Marshall Loeb Visiting Professor of Digital Innovation at Stony Brook School of Journalism in Long Island. And I'm so grateful to be able to host this daily conversation around various aspects of COVID-19. We are so grateful that you can be here with us. We're live right now on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. Please tag your friends. Please hit share. You know someone who can benefit from our Sunday night show, which is all about positivity. And we are very excited that we can bring this show to you. This is episode number 102. That means we've been on lockdown in New York for 102 straight days. Thank you so much for being here, and please share right now. Let me tell you what episode this is and what we're going to be doing on this show. We have a lot of fun planned because it is positivity. It is Father's Day, and it's 9 p.m. in New York. And we are so grateful to my special guests, my twins, Durga and Krishna, are joining us. And the reason they're here is we want them to tell us the point of view about the lockdown from two 17-year-olds. And as you can imagine, 17-year-olds don't want to be locked down, and 17-year-olds certainly don't want to be on a show with their dad. And the only reason they agreed to do this is because they said this would be my Father's Day gift. Otherwise, I had no hope of getting them on the show. We've had 7-year-olds on the show, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, but no 17-year-olds, and certainly not my two 17-year-olds. I am so grateful to them. I'm so proud of them. And I'm excited to have them here on the show today. They agreed to be here. Unlike all my other guests who I keep saying, please tag, please share, please tell all your friends, they are telling no one. They don't want anyone to know they're on the show. And that's how they asked me not to tag them on Facebook, so I have not done that. But of course, if other people want to share and post, we'd love for people to do that. You're going to learn a lot what it's like to be two 17-year-old Americans on lockdown. And also we'll hear their thoughts on what's happening around the world, including the protests here in America, as well as what's happening around the planet with the various things that they're interested in. They also took me and my wife Rupa on our first protest as part of the aftermath of the death of George Floyd, and they will tell us about that experience. And they've been since to multiple other things and that have to do with the organizations and organizing around the aftermath of George Floyd's death. So thank you all for being here. We'll get started in just a minute. It is Father's Day, so we have a very special other project that's happening today. We are doing shout outs to fathers as part of a Father's Day promotion that we set up. And we did that this morning on our Father's Day edition of the New York Times Read Along. And we had folks submit a picture and a message, and we are reading them on the air later today. We read them in the morning as part of the New York Times Read Along, and then we're going to be reading them tonight as well. A lot more people sent in photographs of their fathers, father figures, others that they wanted to celebrate. We have more than 40 men of various ages and backgrounds who are going to be celebrated from around the world. So please stay tuned for that. And I want to tell you about my Father's Day. It started with me doing my New York Times Read Along with our Read Along team, where we got to interview Tom Jolly, the print editor of the New York Times, reading the print edition of the New York Times together. He's in New Jersey. I was here. Our team of Neil Parekh and Paula Kiger and Steve Taylor and Julia Weeks were all in other places, and we read the New York Times together. It's a life highlight to hear about the New York Times from the editor, the print editor of the paper. And then while we're on the air, my family brought in some breakfast that they had made. So I had a really good start to my morning. And then we went out to the beach. We're out here on Fire Island, just relaxing and still working, but having the opportunity to be here on Fire Island and to have access to a beach. We know how lucky we are. We were lucky to survive 100 days of lockdown in Manhattan, and now we're out here in Fire Island, which is a barrier island just off of Long Island in New York. So let me start by thanking our sponsors for making this all possible. And let's tell you about our first sponsor, Art & Co. Get involved with the world's largest online art auction, fundraising for COVID-19 victims. Fundraising for COVID-19 victims, artandco.net, artandco.net. And please check this out. 31 great artists and 7 great organizations are going to be supported by this. Also want to tell you about Rutgers Global Entrepreneurship Experience, a virtual teen camp, 2 different dates in July, and teens from anywhere in the world can join. Get a 20% off code with the 20% off code with SREE, and the website is globalentrepreneurshipexperience.org. They're going to learn from speakers from Cognizant, Angie's List, Google, Facebook, many others. They have great speakers, and then me. Your team can skip the session with me, but everybody else, they should definitely attend. It's globalentrepreneurshipexperience.org. We also want to thank Muckrack Academy for allowing us to have the resources to do a free certification course that's already launched. 4,000 people have signed up for this course. It's the fundamentals of social media, available to everyone. It's about 2 hours of work with some quizzes. mrac.co/social, mrac.co/social. Add something to your resume, add something to your LinkedIn. You will learn a lot, I promise you, because I learned a lot putting this together. So mrac.co/social. And with that, I think we're ready to bring on our guests. They're in another room in this house, and I am so excited to bring them to you. The understanding, as I said, is that we're going to listen to these 17-year-olds, and they're going to talk about what it's like to be 17 and under lockdown, what they learned, what they did, and take your questions. People from around the world are watching, and please tag a friend, please hit share, let folks come in, and we want to ask them lots of questions. So here they are, my 17-year-old twins, our 17-year-old twins, Rupa, Durga, and Krishna. Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
All right. How embarrassed are you?
Happy Father's Day, Dad.
How embarrassed are you?
Quite a bit.
Just a little bit. We don't know which of our friends have found this, so that's like another part of what we're going to be tracking today, but just kidding. We're excited, yeah.
Yeah.
But tell us why it's so bad if your friends find out. What is the embarrassment factor here?
I mean, how many 17-year-old kids are doing live streams with their dad, like just putting it on the internet? I don't know. It's not a normal activity, but it's not terrible, I guess.
But you know you're now on the internet, so you can't control what happens, right?
Yeah.
But I promise you I won't tag you, correct?
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So Krishna, let's start with you. Tell us who you are and tell us what you do, and how are you doing? It's been 102 days. We just yesterday left Manhattan for the first time. How did it go? How did you feel?
So my name is Krishna. I'm Sree's son, as all of you know. Durga's brother, Rupa's son. I'm a high school student in New York City at Hunter College High School. And yeah, like you said, we just left New York City for the first time. It was for the first time in 3 months. It was pretty insane because our lives were just like the same thing every day for the past 100 days. Then on Wednesday, we graduated from 11th grade very anticlimactically, and now we are out in Fire Island.
And how are you? What did it feel to be like at the beach for the first time, to go out for the first time?
It felt amazing and also very strange because when you spend, thousands of hours just like in your house, being outside is like, you kind of forget how to like have fun outside because you haven't done anything like that in so long.
Yeah. And Durga, how about you?
Yeah, same here. I mean, it's fun just to be with Krishna and we've spent so much time as a family. It's been actually really fun. And I mean, I kind of love it now. But it has been hard to keep busy. It was in the beginning, but now there's so many things to do, which is kind of distracted from all the issues going on. But then also allowed us to like work with it and I know like all the work that you're doing. to help everything that's going on right now. So we're definitely keeping this.
Well, thank you. And tell us about what is like during the lockdown. What did you guys do? You went to virtual school? You went to virtual school?
Yeah, we had Zoom classes pretty much every day, and it was very strange because like everything became pass or fail. So you have motivation to do your work, but it's like there's no longer motivation to make the best assignments you have. But also because there's not much else to do, why wouldn't you, try as hard as you can? Because like, what else are you going to do with your time? Because we just suddenly had so much more free time than we've had. So.
Yeah. And so what are some of the things you did? Let people hear. What was it like to be in lockdown? We were in our Manhattan apartment, and now we're here at a friend's house out on Long Island. What are the things? So you're at school. Walk us through your day, Krishna, during school year, what you were doing.
So of course we had school, which took up a few hours a day, then a bit of homework. Most days I would try and do some exercise. Some days I would cook. We'd have to take our dog Tara out for a walk, and most of us would try and take as long as possible because that was really the only time we could go outside. So everybody's fighting for who gets to walk Tara today. And then also on Saturdays, I do your radio show. So that takes up my Saturday morning, which I wasn't excited about it at first, but it's become a nice part of my week.
So we should tell people about that. We have a spin-off show from this daily COVID-19 show. It's a radio show on WBAI 99.5 FM and heard worldwide on WBAI.org. It's a completely listener-supported progressive radio station in New York. And that means there's all kinds of people call in. And so talk a little bit about that. We also got some amazing guests, some of the most influential, important people in the world. You booked them to come and speak and be on the show. It's just been great to work with you. You were my intern, and you would write to them saying, I'm Sree's intern/son. And that was pretty cool. So talk about what was that like to produce this? And it's been 3 months. Every Saturday we work together.
Yeah, so at first it was a bit intimidating because sometimes every week I'd have to email people I've never heard of in my life. Some people were very professional people that it was like professors and people like that, where it's like I'd never had to just contact them out of the blue and ask them to come on a radio show before. But I got better and better at it, and the show's pretty fun. We have a lot of strange people who call. We also have a lot of helpful, curious people. Like we have a few regular people who just call in every week. One 98-year-old guy who says he's immune to coronavirus, stuff like that. It's a bit worrying that we have to be the authorities on it, but also some of our guests are doctors and such, so they can sometimes take the tough questions.
Okay. So let's talk to Durga. Tell me about what it was like. You even had an election in the middle of all of this, a school election, Durga.
Yeah. So in quarantine, there have been like ups and downs, but definitely things have gotten kind of hectic. But I've also tried to like exercise. The two of us found like a few shows and like in a few for like a little bit of time each week we would like spend time watching it together. My mother is watching this show and sorry.
Our mom was watching this live and then played it too loud.
Right next to us. Anyways, sorry. But yeah, so with quarantine, what I tried to do with I run a youth political organization, which has been also like a lot more prominent recently, with a lot of people like becoming more inclined to really be involved and take like an active stance with movements like the Black Lives Matter movement and everything that's going around, and like legislative changes that they know that needs to happen, and also the election. So all of this has kind of come together. But a lot of phone banking is what I've spent a lot of time doing. Oh, thanks, Dad. There's the website, Coalition Z. And it's a youth-based organization, and we have chapters all around the country. So that we are a fairly like New York City heavy organization. So we do have like toolkits specific to New York and New York actions, and we have a pairing initiative also to connect students with elected officials to work on campaigns. When during this time, I think that that's one of the more substantial things that we have done in order to get people involved and help getting progressive candidates elected. But Dad, if you scroll to the top, there's our toolkits are listed, and we have legislation for the national legislative agenda, and also New York City specific pieces of legislation. One of them is the banning of tear gas and the demilitarization of the police, which has just been a law. It has just been introduced in New York State, which is so exciting, especially given that tear gas is banned in war, yet our police forces are still using it against peaceful protesters, which has been so scary to watch and also be a part of the movement and see everything that's going on. But hopefully by making these resources that people will, it's hard to also sit down and take 10 minutes to do it yourself, but if you're able to come to the phone banks we're doing and join, we've had like 40, 50 people at a time come and join the phone banks, which has been really fun. And seeing other people also getting really motivated and just making a ton of calls and totally making our council members go crazy is so awesome to see how many people truly care. And yeah, I'm really, really loving all the energy that's happening. And honestly, I'm not sure if without quarantine, any if this sort of interest would happen. But the people who've been involved throughout for years have also really shown up. So I really hope it continues, is what I think is really important, is that people stay active and don't think that, oh, the things are opening up, therefore we don't have to care about anything. We can just go back to our normal lives. But like, racism has been normal for so long, so being able to question everything that's going on and question ourselves and really understand how we can help. And yeah, so just keeping the momentum, I think, is so important for people of all ages,
So now we're going to bring in some of the comments from people around the world, and let's see who is watching. We'll just say hello to everybody. Our first guest, Jonathan Borstein, says hi. Hello from Union Square. And Jonathan, thank you for watching. He watched for 100 straight episode, and now there's 102 straight episodes. He was my guest on the 100th show. Even when my own family didn't have time to watch, he watched 100 straight episodes. Here's Neil Parekh, looking forward to tonight's show, watching from Springfield, Virginia. He's the executive producer of the New York Times read-along, and also put together our Father's Day tribute. So that's coming up in a few minutes. We're going to celebrate 40 father figures in a little bit. So stay tuned for that. Anand Babu's watching from India. And Neil says, Happy Father's Day to everyone. Rahadyan is here, and good evening from Center Reach, Long Island. Happy to have you here, Rahadyan. Sudha, Neil's mom, is watching. Today's interview will be very interesting, she says, and that's great. And such fun to catch you live. Brian's watching. Happy Father's Day to you, my friend, and happy Father's Day to you. This is my Father's Day gift from my twins. Let's see. Durga and Krishna being on a show is a great Father's Day gift. Is Rupa Unnikrishnan watching, or is she getting a 1.5 hour break? That's pretty funny. Kristen's watching. Happy Father's Day. Thank you very much. Anyone who has kids, ask them to join us so they can ask a question of 17-year-olds, what it's like, what they're doing, what's life like as a 17-year-old, all of that. Ashok Sharma is watching from Kerala in India. Stefan's watching. Hope everyone had a nice, peaceful Father's Day. Wonderful to be here, and looking forward to hearing from Sree and Rupa's incredible twins. Ron Kurt says Happy Father's Day. And Roberta, a dear friend, is watching from Richmond. Hi. Ashok says Happy Father's Day. Thanks for sharing my photo with my father. We're going to share that again, Ashok. Just stay tuned. Christine says, taking the muck rack course right now. It's great. Thank you. Again, I couldn't do what I'm doing if it weren't for these guys agreeing and letting me do all the work we do. So I'm just so grateful to these two and my wife, Rupa. Please follow her, by the way, Rupa online. She wants you to follow her. These two don't want to give you any social information, right? Because you don't want my friends to follow you, right? That's not cool.
Not really.
I'm here for Durga and Krishna. Love your kids. You're such a great dad. Thank you. They're such great kids. Hey, Durga. Hey, Krishna. Cherry is watching from Trivandrum. He says, hello, Durga and Krishna. Daryl's watching. I was on Fire Island last summer. It's terrific out there. It really is. And Neil says, live streaming with your dad is not terrible, but it's also not normal, said Krishna.
I didn't know I was going to be quoted.
Yeah. You didn't know you would be quoted. Yes. Mark says, hello to your amazing kids. Are either of you planning to go into media like your dad?
I can't speak for her, but I don't really know what I want to do with my life yet. So maybe not.
Okay. And Durga?
I'm not so sure because there are just so many things that are just being shot at you from all directions. So I don't know if that's like my calling, and it just seems like people can find news for whatever they want to believe right now. So yeah, it seems like a very daunting business, but yeah.
Yeah, it certainly is. Let's see who else is watching. Sarah Jamshidi is watching. Happy Father's Day. Ron Kurt says, congrats on your graduation. Well, 11th grade graduation. Let's make it clear, 11th grade graduation. Are you happy that this virus happened 11th grade and not 12th grade? Because it'd be even worse if it was 12th grade, right, Durga? What do you think?
I mean, I don't know, because part of it is like developing your work ethic and being able to there are also the fun moments and all the times that you're spending sending off your senior friends, and like seeing some of those connections go is pretty sad. But then also, like, yeah, if it would happen next year, if it happened next year instead, I'm sure we would have been like devastated. So hopefully this will put like next year into context for us and really help everyone like see the value of just like life, you know?
Krishna, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, it's two very different things. Like now, the end of junior year is like very stressful versus the end of senior year is very peaceful. So like we kind of did get a lot of free time that we wouldn't have had, but at the same time, like the whole college process is just like shambles now. Whereas the seniors, it's like they're losing more sentimental values as opposed to like practical things like applying to college versus just spending time with your friends or graduation.
Yep, I hear you. Radian says, I hope that you're able to have a traditional graduation from high school next year. That's great. And Rajagopal says, happy birthday, Sree. I think he means happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everybody watching. Mark says, how productive are you of your sister as you two become adults? And which one of you is most similar to your dad? I have two nephews. They'll be 11 and 12 in August. What advice do you have for them as they slowly head to high school? Krishna, you first. The question is, which one of you is more similar to me?
Neither of us really get told that we're that similar in terms of how we behave, but I'm definitely told I look like him a lot. But I think the answer would probably have to be me, based on like popular consensus. Do you agree? Yeah, and protective maybe. I'm not really that protective because she's very mature, very responsible young lady. So there's nothing I could teach her that she doesn't already know. So I'm not very protective.
I appreciate that.
And you're also older, right, Durga? By 2 minutes.
Older, much older, 2 minutes.
Okay, so the answer to your question, the question of what is your advice for 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, or getting ready for high school?
Take it seriously, but not like too seriously. Don't let it like. Don't let the stress take over your life, but also don't expect it to just be like cruising, just like elementary and middle school work.
Yeah, and then also just like don't do things just for college, because so many people do that, and then it ends up being just something you're not interested in, something that like you can't use later in life. So as long as you just like are staying true to, I think, like to what you believe in and like what you care about, even if you don't get into the college of your dreams, there are still so many great colleges out there. So also being just super open-minded and also just caring about yourself and your friends through the process to make sure you're not too overwhelmed, I think is just really important.
You guys have great friends. What is the secret of finding great friends in high school? You guys changed a lot of schools in the last couple of years, right? You went to 3 different schools instead of growing up in one school. Tell us about the secret to finding great friends.
I mean, that's a pretty like deep question that I don't know if either of us just like know the secret to finding great friends. I gotta find people that you like and, you know, stay true to them. I don't know.
Something like that. Yes.
Something like that. I like it. Okay. Linda says, I'm so impressed, Krishna, that you're your producer for your dad's WBAI show. Thank you, Linda. I get so many compliments about the show. He is the one who's doing all the work with me. I could not do that show without him, especially radio is very tense compared to what I'm doing here. Obviously, the stakes are much higher. It's WBAI, a legendary television radio station. And to have Krishna there with me every single day means a lot. Ashok says, I'm your grandfather's friend, Ashok Sharma. Twyla says, tropical positivity. She likes your shirt. Tell her about your shirt.
Well, we're at the beach, and this is a shirt I've had for a while. And living in New York City, you don't get a lot of opportunities to wear a shirt like this and not get, you know, thousands of stares on the street. So I thought, why not? And because we're near a beach, this is my shirt. Okay,
very nice. And by the way, I think they must think my dad is cool because he owns a big slingshot. Remember, that's like the Batmobile, and there's a whole slingshot club in Durham. I'm sure there's one in New York too. I don't know about slingshots. That's interesting. Rajendra says, good to see you guys, Krishna and Durga. And James says, happy Father's Day to everyone. And Jim, thank you for all your support of everything we do. Neil says, Krishna, you're okay working with your dad on the WBAI show, but you're lukewarm at best about being on tonight's show, right?
Well, WBAI, I'm not actually on the air or anything, so it's not as high stakes because, like, if I just do my job, that's kind of it. As opposed to, like, here, I could be as prepared as possible, but somebody asks a tough question, I say something weird or something embarrassing, like, you know, that's what happens. As opposed to he does all the heavy lifting on the WBI show.
That's great to hear that. Let's see who else is here. Durga and Sudha says, Durga and Krishna are amazing and articulate. They're so mature and enjoying. Ashok is asking about all the things that Durga does. We've heard a lot from Krishna. So Durga, tell us about some of the things you're doing.
He asked that before she explained it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Twyla says, smart, active, engaged, and fun family. Thank you. Stefan says, I really have always thought of you guys should have a reality show, Life with the Sreenivasans. It would be the best of the best, unlike all those fake shows and actors. Linda says, Durga, so impressive. And Mark says, what do you kids think of AOC, as she's somewhat of a young leader as well? Maybe not a teen. You folks have a big election this year. So talk about that, please. Go ahead, Durga.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I think she's really made it clear that there is a very large progressive base and that people are willing to accept change and that people are ready to fight for social change and social justice and are not only going to grassroots organizations, but are also going to elected positions. And people are able to organize around that and organize around really progressive candidates. So I think that she's really proven that. And I think she is a voice for Generation Z, and so many people look up to her, and just to the truth of what she does, and her ability to really just connect on like a one-to-one, on like a personal level with constituents and with messages, I think is so important and is what progressive candidates should learn to do as they speak for young people. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that?
I don't know. I think you answered the question.
Okay. Rose says, proud dad. Rose is one of our awesome producers. Vandana Menon and Rose Horowitz worked 102 straight days with them. I'm so grateful. Ron says, happy to hear you're supporting progressive causes and fighting the good fight. And Ron says, you're both doing a terrific job. Nice to see you all grown up. Sree and Rupa must be very proud. Good to see you both, says Anand. Rose says, I'm not the air on WBI. His dad does the heavy lifting. He didn't know he's going to be quoted like this. Arjun says, hi from Jaisalmer in India. Manju's watching. Say hi, guys.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
I miss you.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Oh, wow. Look at Durga and Krishna all grown up. They are the best. I wonder where they get it from. From their Manju auntie, of course. And folks, please tag a friend. Please tag someone in your life who has a teenager or a young kid. They will enjoy seeing these kids grilled instead of themselves. And Stefan says, Krishna, it is so awesome that you're working on the WBI show. Great experience, especially with Dad. And then look who's watching. This is our dear friend, Rihanna. Rihanna is watching. Rihanna says, happy Father's Day, Sree. Miss you, Durga and Krishna. Suman says, happy Father's Day, Sree. It's great to see Durga and Krishna. And Rupa is here. So proud of these young ones. Again, for those of you who are just joining us and wondering what the heck is going on, who are these wonderful children? They are my children, mostly Rupa's children, but they agreed to do this it was an accident. How did you agree to do this? Because you would never have done this.
I was thinking ahead, and like sometimes for Father's Day, Mother's Day, birthdays, it's like when we're busy, it's like so hard to remember all these things. And I was like, you know what? What's a gift he'll really love and doesn't require hours of planning on our behalf? Go on his show. And it's potentially one of my greatest gifts, or it could backfire. But so far, it's going pretty well. So,
and do you regret it yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Twyla's asking, what do Durga and Krishna think of cancel culture? Durga, you want to start?
We're just talking about this today.
Yeah, it's a bit like cancel culture is like I mean it's hard to say, like, make a judgment on like a whole trend, you know. I think it's like a case-by-case basis. Some people like absolutely deserve to be canceled. They did terrible stuff in their past. Some people, it's more like toss up, was this really so bad? But yeah, so I mean, for me, it's like I have to see what happened with each person getting canceled, and then decide, you know, whether or not I agree that like this was bad enough that we should remove their like celebrity status or stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole idea of like cancel culture is like it makes it has people rely on other people's opinions of someone instead of being able to like form their own opinion on a person, a celebrity, or a concept, anything. It really has people just like hive mind, you know, and just think something's valid just because they heard their friend say it or some random internet troll say it. So I think that's what's harmful about it. Instead of going the extra mile, like do your own research, search up issues, search up things you're interested in, and like form opinions. I don't think it makes sense to just like go off of everyone else's just one idea. But then also, I think it also like makes people unwilling to like change, is what we were talking about before as well. Is like people are also like trying to cancel like Gandhi now, and like the thing about that is like, can you really cancel someone who has saved millions of lives? And it's also canceling them because supposedly, like, because he was racist when he lived in South Africa previously. And I do understand that and how horrible that was. But you also have to give someone the capacity to change, because otherwise no one's going to be willing to change if you're just going to say, oh, you're canceled from day one. Like, you have to have faith in, like the Trump supporters of the world who say no to things like immigration, who do think that, who do have an array of views that I personally do not agree with, and personally think are very harmful to the marginalized in society. But if you just completely say, you know, we're going to exclude you from society, then you're giving them no room to change. So I think that's really important. Sorry, that became a bit of a rant, but.
Tell them also about one of the things that we did do with Mahatma Gandhi. We had an incredible opportunity in South Africa. Tell them about that.
So when we were in South Africa, we met his granddaughter, Ela Gandhi, with our dad's best friend and his family, Andrew Lee. And it was a really cool experience because he's one of those historical figures that's like taken like a legendary status. So to see like a real person who's like connected to him was very, very, I don't know what the word for it is. It was very surreal. But it was really cool to see Gandhi's granddaughter and hear what she had to say about her own grandfather, who happened to be one of the most important men in history, at least from my perspective.
So let's talk about this photo. Do you remember this? This was in Pietermaritzburg, the train station where Mahatma Gandhi got kicked off the train. And they have the statue of Mahatma Gandhi there. There's the young Gandhi that most people don't recognize. but this is what he looked like. And then here's Nelson Mandela and these are our friends Andrew and May. And we should wish them, I wish Andrew a happy Father's Day as well. And this was great. And these are all some of the things. And this is the picture with her. Talk about meeting her.
Yeah, she was very kind. And also like you could see his spirit almost, like she was very just like open and like joyful, and then also she like seemed to like bear a lot of his burdens, and like she like spent her life, I believe, for the most part, like educating people and helping others, it was so much of what he did. And I think it's just like she was a phenomenal person that I don't like. I mean, you meet.
She was a parliamentarian, anti-apartheid activist herself, but she's done a lot. Let's listen to a little bit of her voice, okay? I think people would like that. Let's see if I can do this. It may not be loud enough here. Let's see. This is in the settlement that Mahatma Gandhi ran. I'll give you guys a break. You can relax for a minute.
Running water, all the services. And he gave that up to come and live here, where there was only bush in this area. And because he felt that he had to change. So the Phoenix settlement is about the change in his life. When he came here, he was a different man altogether. And at Phoenix, he decided to change, and his life changed. So everything that you see over here is the changed Mahatma Gandhi.
So that's the change of Mahatma Gandhi that you're seeing there, that she's talking about. And it was a very special visit. This was outside of Durban when we went with Andrew and our families. Andrew has now 10-year-old twins, or about to be 10-year-old twins, and we all went together. We're one big family. Let's see who else is watching, and lots of comments coming in from around the world. I just love seeing all these friends. I'm connecting to them, but I'm seeing a lot more people who I usually don't see here. And Angela says, love how passionate Durga is about social change, which is cool. Amrita Auntie is watching and says, hi, Krishna and Durga, I'm your grandmother's friend. So you have been put on the spot today. You're doing well. Very well indeed. Love your project. That's great. Debbie is watching from DC. We missed the Upper West Side. Remember, Debbie Auntie used to live in our building, and her daughter babysat you, which is great. Stefan says, Durga, you're beyond impressive. If only more young people and even grown-ups were as proactive as you. Keep up the great work. Nidhi's watching. I love this. Hi, Durga and Krishna. And Daryl says, yeah, I'm in Richmond Hill, but dreaming of a return to Fire Island. Rose says, happy Father's Day. What a generous gift from your children. They are regretting it now. Neil says, the naming of the generations got all messed up. Generation X was actually Generation 10, like the iPhone naming convention. Instead of Generation 11, it went to Y, Z, etc. Neil, I didn't know that. I didn't know. I'm Generation X, I guess. I've forgotten now what I am, but I'm completely confused. Krishna, Adam is asking, how is it growing up in Manhattan? What's it like growing up in Manhattan?
I mean, I've only lived in Manhattan, so I have nothing to compare it to, but it's fun. You don't need a car. After a certain age, you can just pretty much take public transport almost everywhere you need to go. And you can walk to most of the places, like getting food, groceries, etc. So it's pretty nice. The only downside is if you live in Manhattan, chances are you have a much smaller house than you would if you lived in the suburbs or in a rural area. But it might be worth the trade-off depending on who you ask. I think it is.
Durga, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I love living in the city, just given the amount of people you'll meet and the people you get to interact with. But yeah, I mean, there are obviously its downsides, and it's also the most segregated school district in the country, which is pretty disturbing. So there's like a lot of things that can be fixed, but also like the amount of just like energy and also like open-mindedness for the most part is pretty like appealing.
That's great to hear about your. We always wanted to live in the city. Do you guys wish you lived in the suburbs and had a backyard?
Sometimes, especially when I was little and I would always run around the house, occasionally breaking things. I'd wish I had a backyard. And every time we went to visit people's houses, like the one I can remember most is Charlie and Mary Auntie's. Whenever we went to their house, it was so great to have a backyard for for the day, for the evening. But we have Riverside Park like 2 blocks away. We have Central Park, one of the most famous parks in the world, a few blocks away. So I can't really complain.
Yeah, I mean, also, yeah, I would think I would hate like having nothing to do around you. Like so many things we can just like walk for 10 minutes, and then you can. There's like amazing restaurants, amazing things to do. So that would be like the downside. But like especially like right now where you can't really do anything, in the city, like a nice big house would be amazing. But of course, like we have like the parks and stuff. So.
Yeah.
All right. Ritu says, happy Father's Day. You're doing a great job, kids. That's awesome. Krishna, you didn't know you would be quoted. This video will live on forever on multiple channels. No pressure.
Yeah, I mean, I realize that now. But if I like scripted out everything I wanted to say to every one of these questions, it'd be a very boring show because I would take the middle path on every. I would have no opinions, nothing that anyone could possibly get mad at. So. I'm okay if there's a risk of me being quoted by Mr. Neil, so it's okay.
All right. Linda says, Durga and Krishna, I'd vote for either of you for president of anything.
Aww,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe she'll be president one day. We never know.
Neil says, respecting Durga and Krishna's wishes, not tagging them on Facebook so as not to alert their friends. Hope everyone else follows suit. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Elizabeth says, happy Father's Day, Sree. Thanks for sharing this time and your thoughts with us, Durga and Krishna. And so many other questions and comments coming in. Your grandma's watching. This is your cousin. This is my cousin, Pratna. Say hi.
Hi, Papua Mai.
Hi.
Miss you guys. Tell Cyrus we miss him and Uncle Ed.
Yes, we miss you guys so much. Favorite.
And here's your grandma.
Hi, Amana. Miss you too.
Hi, Amana. We love you so much.
Let's see who else. And Pratna says, happy Father's Day to me. Radhyan says, thank you, Neil. He's giving, I guess Neil gave a movie recommendation earlier. And there's so much going on here. Sudha says, we also had Gandhiji's granddaughter, Sumatra Kulkarni, as a house guest in Hastings. Neil has a picture with her. Oh, wow. That is awesome. Shiva Ramesh says, really appreciate Durga's thoughtful answer on so-called cancel culture. And Suman says, wow, history becomes so much more real for the kids when they have such experiences. Hunter is my friend, Hunter Walker, my former student. Great kids, Sree. Happy Father's Day. Joseph says, happy Father's Day. Ron says, wow, cool connection to history. And Radhyan says, probably not the best comparison, but Ted Kennedy should not be judged solely on Chappaquiddick, but on the whole of his life, especially the good he did as a senator in his later life. There's actually kind of breaking news this evening. There's that famous statue of Teddy Roosevelt outside of the Natural History Museum, and the museum board has voted and approved the removing of that statue. And a lot of course, people on the right are upset about that because they're worried that this is, political correctness or something else. Let me just show you what that statue looks like, because that's going to be something you're seeing in the news tomorrow or even tonight. We're just going to call that up here so you guys can see the statue. Durga and Krishna have seen it many, many times. This statue is the one that's going to be removed. And so you might say, what is wrong with that statue? There is an African-American man and a Native American man on either side of Roosevelt while he gets to ride this horse. These are, the people he's saving in this. And so this is a big deal that it has happened. The museum took this action amid a heated debate, national debate, over the appropriateness of statues that first focused on Confederate symbols like Robert E. Lee, and has now moved on to wider arc of figures from Christopher Columbus to Winston Churchill. Last week alone, a crowd set fire to a statue of George Washington in Portland before pulling it to the ground. Gunfire broke out during a protest in Albuquerque to demand the removal of a statue of Juan de Oñate, the despotic conquistador of New Mexico, and New York City Council members demanded that a statue of Thomas Jefferson be removed from City Hall. What do you guys think about this stuff that's happening? How do you relate to it? Do you talk about it in school? And I know you're studying U.S. government and other topics as well. And folks, please stay tuned. After this, we're going to do our Father's Day tribute. We have 40 different fathers and father figures. We're going to get a nice celebration on the show. We're going to name them, and we're going to read a message to them from their families. It's going to be a real treat. Even if you don't know any of the family members, you're going to feel really good about that. That's going to start in about 5 minutes, and then these kids are off stage after that, and they get free. They will come back, though, to join me down here at the end after doing the Father's Show tribute. We are saying their names on the show that Krishna and I produced, the WBI show. We had twice the amazing guest, Professor Kimberly Crenshaw. And one of the things, Krishna, you remember, she said to us, say their names, say the names of the victims of police violence. And we've been saying their names every single day on the show. And Krishna, on the spot, typed up a list of many of the people who had been killed. And she was so appreciative of you doing that on the spot, Krishna. She said that multiple times. So we are going to talk a little bit more to these folks, and then we're going to go to the Father's Day, and then we're going to say their names. Go ahead, Krishna. First, your thought on this of the statues. And you grew up, of course, at school knowing about how great Christopher Columbus is. At what age do you think you understood that Columbus had another side as well?
Actually, I mean, unlike you, we weren't really taught that Columbus was great. Because I know that like it's a common like American public or private school thing where it's like Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Like we never learned that in school. I think our school did try to take into account. I don't know. They didn't want to just give us the typical American experience. They wanted to be, racially sensitive, and like, so I never worshipped Christopher Columbus even as like a little kid. But I never thought he was like a bad guy until I started like learning about what happened once he so-called discovered the Americas, but even though he didn't, because when I was little, I did think that he discovered it because like growing up in America, you just hear that phrase so often: Columbus discovered America, Columbus discovered America. But it wasn't that hard to unlearn that and learn about the real history of the founding of the United States.
Yeah, I think with all of the statue issues are like people for some reason are just so attached to like some of these ideas. And I think people like really have to just start like Curtis said, like unlearning things that have been learned in the past, and also just trying to educate themselves on things. Like if I like the first time I heard, I was not aware of why that was colonialist or like racist ideologies were in that statue. Like I had no idea whatsoever. So I think like being able to like so many of us like, although you like might think you're like as woke as you can be, like there's so many things that we have left to learn. It's insane. So just being able to keep an open mind and being able to question like, oh, I used to respect Teddy Roosevelt so much. Oh, he was on what is that like night at the museum, right? Like they make all like the little kids fall in love with him.
He was played by Robin Williams.
Yeah, so making sure that even figures that like you have like a personal attachment to, and like from grade school you think that these people are legends, but then being able to understand that so much of what we are taught is also like comes from this colonialist background. So many things are taught from the white man's perspective of going and being an imperialist and going and colonizing parts of the world in Africa and Asia, that we really have to like take it into our own hands and find our own resources to like make sure all the knowledge we're getting is like factual and not just like, oh, Teddy Roosevelt's statue was taken down, how horrible, but being able to understand why everything happens.
I wanted to just say that about the Roosevelt statue, the problem is the statue, not so much just Teddy Roosevelt himself. In fact, they're renaming the Biodiversity Hall after Teddy Roosevelt because he really did so much for conservation and making America care about the national parks and everything else. And so I was just showing you folks this picture that you haven't seen in a long time of your class at Columbia, the school at Columbia. And this is the kind of place where you learned about the value of diversity and the value of, the kinds of things that Krishna was saying. When I was a kid here in America as a 9-year-old, I certainly learned only great things about Christopher Columbus. And now already, obviously, a generation or two has passed, and we're learning much more. Let's keep going. Arjun says, if you plan to visit Rajasthan, they're welcome to my town. Jaisalmer is famous for the prestigious history and unique beauty, which is really nice. And Ashok, your grandpa's friend, says, looking forward to meeting you all when you're next in Kerala. And look, your grandpa's watching.
Hi, Chicha.
Hi.
Miss you a lot. Thanks for tuning in.
Happy Father's Day to one of the other best fathers I know, and
yeah.
also to our other grandpa, KV Krishnan, our Apupa. But yeah, we love you guys so much, and thank you for always taking care of us. We love you.
Yeah, miss you guys so much. Hope we can see you soon when this is all over.
And Melanie says, great seeing you all. Been too long. That's Melanie Auntie watching.
Hi.
Really has. It really has been too long.
I know. We miss you so much, but we will, yeah.
Anand likes her accent. How about that? Anand's watching in India.
Hopefully it's an American accent. I don't know. People don't really comment on it because everyone we know has the same accent.
Yeah.
Do some of your relatives, when you visit India, have trouble understanding you?
Yeah, but that's because we speak too fast.
Yeah.
Great kids. Happy Father's Day, Sree, and to all fathers to be, and a salute to those fulfilling fatherly roles for some families. I think that is great. Olinda is watching from Mumbai. Tell us about your trip to Mumbai that you remember. You had a great time.
Yeah, we stayed at like such a great hotel, the Taj in Mumbai. It was a lot of fun. We were very young, I think, maybe like 7, 8. So I don't really remember that much. It's kind of blended in with our other trips to India, but it is set apart in that it wasn't a family trip. It was more more like a sightseeing trip or tourism.
Okay, Olinda says, hey Sree, happy Father's Day. So lovely to see your kids, Krishna and Durga. They're so amazing. Best wishes they reach their highest potential. Yes, please do come with the show, which somebody just said now. Rupa should feel proud too. So I'm sure they don't want to do a daily show with me or anything like that. Manju says, proud parents. They're lucky to have Sree and Rupa as role models. You both empower and inspire them to be the best they can be. And this is just so many comments here, guys. I'm kind of overwhelmed from trying to read all of these, but it's just great. There was a question. Oh, Manju asked, talk more about segregated schools in New York and why New York is so diverse but still segregated, Durga.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I could probably talk about this for an insane amount of time, but I'll try to keep it short. So in New York, we have so many like specialized high schools, and our school too, it's called Hunter College High School, and we are supposedly like one of the top high schools in terms of like acceptance rates, etc. But 2.4% of our school is Black, and I think over 40%, or no, over 30 or over 40% of New York City is Black, has Black students. So the fact that happens, and that there are also schools in the Bronx and in East Brooklyn that are 90% Black and Latinx are just so astounding, that we're unable to accommodate for these people. And from the elementary school level, kids are not given support and therefore cannot progress to like high schools that are more rigorous. And I mean, I've seen this a lot with my peers. People are unable to grasp things to a certain extent and unable to understand racism, but then also understand how to be inclusive. It's insane. So we wrote, now like with quarantine, we actually wrote a letter to our school surrounding diversity and the fact that we have one Black teacher at our school as well. And like seeing Black role models and having Black people and Latinx people in positions to hire is also so important to allow children to understand and not be pretty much like indoctrinated with the sense that white people are superior, Asian people are superior. Like that is so scary to me that we have allowed that. Like people think, oh, we're in 2020, like everything's settled and fine, but I mean, we are still in the midst of the civil rights movement. Like so many people are just unable to have the same opportunities as you and me for the most part. So just the fact that that we are still fighting for it, and there's so much inaction. And like also like de Blasio's plan to like cancel the SHSAT like has so much backlash. But there are so many things that like prep schools, which require tons of money. So of course, very wealthy, predominantly white families are able to get these prep courses to take this one test, the Hunter test, and also the SHSAT doesn't measure the adversity you have or like the drive you have. I personally think like any student, if you work hard enough, you put in the extra hours, you will do well. You will. So just the whole idea that someone, and also the elementary school gifted and talented idea, just all of that kind of accumulates to this 2.4% Black versus 90 something percent Black school districts that have been happening since like the days of Jim Crow, segregated school districts, but now it's de facto. It's not because of legislative purposes. So now it just happens, and they can say it's not by law, but it still happens. And I think that's just so worrying. It's one of the things we have to fight back the most. An organization that's doing this amazingly is Teens Take Charge, in New York City specifically, if you want to look into that.
Vandana says, yeah, exactly. If we can unlearn harmful ideas, so can other people. It's okay to accept that you didn't know, unlearn and grow. I think that's great. Great advice. There's a big conversation going on here. Pratana says, Papu says, it wasn't that hard to unlearn that. Couldn't agree more, Krishna. We need to keep educating ourselves, which is really cool. Radyan's naming all the different parts of New York that's there. People are tagging their friends. And Julia's tagged Robin, who you know from our building and has babysat you and everything. And Papu is tagged Ed and Mohan, my uncle, and one of your favorite grandpas. And Himali's watching and says, Happy Father's Day, Sree. Love your kids. And that's so cool. Yeah. And now she's worried, right, Durga? You're thinking, wait a minute, Arushi's watching this. So this is really bad. Marcy says, what a great day to finally tune in. It's been too long. I missed the beginning and have to rewind tomorrow. Marcy was a fabulous guest on this show. She asked me to work with her on a Twitter tutorial. So she, Susan McPherson, and I did a free Twitter tutorial. Everybody can watch on one of the episodes. All 102 episodes are available on my archives, youtube.com/Sreenet. So everybody, please go find that. And follow Hey Marcy too, at Hey Marcy. We're almost out of time because we need to go on and do other things. And Twyla says, you would be surprised at the person's proposing new system for high school admissions. And that's something that's happening. And Himali says, we're here, you're doing great. So that's awesome. We had a question, and maybe this can be the final question for now. Tell us, Durga and Krishna, what is one thing, this is from Manju Auntie, what's one thing you want to accomplish in the next 12 months before you go off to high school and leave your beloved daddy and mommy? I'm adding all of that at the end. And also give a shout out to your doggy.
For me, at least, once we can go outside again, I'd like to see more of New York City because I lived here for 16 years. And I know a good maybe 5, 7, 10% of the city. I know like 1 mile radius of my house, like the back of my hand, and everything else is kind of, foreign to me to an extent. Like I've been to a lot of places, but like I don't really know them, or I've just driven through. So I wish I could see some other places, specifically like in other boroughs, or even just like other parts of Manhattan that I just haven't really been to.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I'm not really sure. Just being able to, I mean, number one is like what I was talking about before, like change our school and like making it an inclusive place, and also we're working on changing admissions right now, and also changing faculty representation and working on hiring, which has become like an alumni effort. So we've created these like committees to actually work on that, which I think is hopefully really become something. And then also just making, like, I mean, since obviously I want it to be on a more like a bigger scale, but starting at home I think is really important. So just like getting the Hunter community to stop it's like fairly racist practices, and then also just becoming an environment in which students feel comfortable. I think some of the culture at our school must be changed. So there are definitely lots of things that we can do. So I hope to be able to do that in my last year, but also just make the best memories I can with my family and my doggy. She's sleeping on the couch, which she's not supposed to be doing, but yes, just spending time with our family is also just so important, and seeing our grandparents hopefully as soon as this is over. At least within the next 12 months would be. Please, Dad. No, I'm kidding. Wait.
Yeah, we'd love to obviously take you to see them. Julia says come to Brooklyn, and there's just so many comments here. Look, Crystal Auntie says hi.
Hi, we miss you guys.
We miss you. How are the kids?
And tell us about that trip you took, the school college viewing trip to Chicago. It became more of a college Chicago eating trip, right? That was one of our goals.
Yeah, it became yeah, I mean, because when we were going to Chicago, we searched up what are some quintessential Chicagoan foods to have. One was deep dish pizza, obviously, which we did have. Coming from New York, I wasn't a huge fan. It felt just like eating like a chunk of cheese with a bit of sauce. And then we had something called Italian beef, which was pretty good. It's a sandwich, and Chicago style hot dog, which was a last minute effort that Dad and I found in the airport. But yeah, it was fun, and also looking at schools was also obviously looking at schools, and it was informative.
Yeah. What about you, Durga? Do you miss not being able to do the college tours?
Yeah, I mean that's a big issue because like just like thinking about how much like what you want to do in the future and like where you're gonna end up being, because so many of the like the preconceptions you have about college are just because of the name, but there's so many things you don't know about different colleges, so it's gonna be really difficult like choosing our like college list without being able to be there. And there's so many virtual sessions now too, but how many hours of Zoom do you really want to keep on adding? And they also all just seriously blend in after a point. But I see Papa Mai says come to LA, and that was like our last like college like trip, and that was like also just so fun, just spending time with our little cousin Cyrus and our amazing uncle and aunt. But I just like, I mean, that was also like some of my dream schools are there. So that was like, I'm actually so grateful that happened like almost a month. I'm not even sure, but just
2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, yeah.
Something crazy like that, like 3 weeks before quarantine. So honestly, I feel so grateful that we were able to do that in the first place. But I would come back anytime, hopefully for college. Fingers crossed. But yeah.
And Sudha Auntie says, Rupa and Sree, both the kids are amazing. They're bright and intelligent. I'm proud of them the way you are. So that's great. Krishna, before we go, we got to talk about your love of food and your cooking and your food blog. Tell them about it.
Yeah, it's been a bit inactive over quarantine, but I have been I look at online recipes a lot, and occasionally I'll be cooking them myself. So I've been reviewing whether or not they're worth cooking. So yeah, maybe check it out at some point.
So what is the name of the blog?
KrishnasRecipeReviews.com.
Oh, great. And Durga, what are you working on? Tell us about your Bharatanatyam before we go.
Yeah, I mean, there's the my Iron Gate Throne, which many of you may have heard of, especially a ton of people from India are tuning in. That Iron Gate Throne is like you're stepping onto the stage, and like it's basically like a pathway to becoming like a professional dancer. But I mean, I'm not so sure if that's what I'm thinking of doing with my life, but it's definitely given me like a lot of passion and drive, and also like connection to my grandmother, who is a phenomenal dancer, and she's really inspired me to continue dancing, and she keeps pushing me, and so does my other grandma. And yeah, so those are both my huge inspirations for like dancing in the first place and just keeping that up. And I do it a lot for like keeping like my heritage and everything. It just keeps, I do feel really connected with the dance, and it's been a very long time. But also last plug before we go is if you know any high schoolers who are interested in political activism in like any sense at all, please tell them to go to coalitionz.org, and they can submit a chapter form. It's super easy, and we just have tons of resources, and it's pretty much what you give to it. We can give you anything you need, and host events with you. So yeah, so if you know anyone interested, any high schooler or younger, like who's interested to volunteer, anything, they can find us and email us at info@coalitionz.org. But yeah, thank you.
That's great. So many other comments coming in. Jeremiah is asking about dealing with the unrest at the rest of the country. In fact, we talked about it, Jeremiah. If you have a chance, you can go back and rewind. Also, they took Rupa and me to our first protest, and it was really nice that we could go and learn a lot from the kids. It's really special when we can do that. Julia is asking, what's your favorite restaurant in New York City? And Durga, I know, has been trying to get us to go to one of her favorite restaurants, which is Sarana Bhavan.
Oh, yeah. Very authentically New York. But, yeah.
I don't think there's one restaurant I go to enough that I can say is my favorite besides Lenny's Bagels, which is very not, it's not a popular choice. It's a bagel shop near our house that we used to go to every Sunday. But there's a bagel shop about 10 blocks away from our house called Absolute Bagels that probably has, 100 times the customers. So I'm not sure anybody else would say that's their favorite restaurant in NYC, but in terms of frequency of visits, that would definitely be mine.
I really like Cafe Frida, which is also on the Upper West Side. It's like this slightly switched up Mexican food. I just love Mexican food all across the city. But yeah, it's so good if you're ever in the 80s on the Upper West Side and go. It's super yummy. Yeah.
So what we're looking at, folks, is Krishna's cooking. He has his recipe blog, as he said, it's called Krishna's Recipe Reviews, krishnasrecipereviews.blogspot.com. And what he does is he cooks and reviews recipes by other people and then grades it based on how difficult it is, how authentic it is, how expensive it is. So here you're looking at his chicken duck adobo from Food Wishes. Here is paratha from Serious Eats that he made by hand from scratch, right, Krishna?
Yeah.
And braised and glazed lamb shanks and Indian-ish nachos from Priya Krishna's Indian-ish New York Times Cooking. What is these? These are mango, right?
That was supposed to be the previous one. I don't know, the photo is not showing, but these are fried sweet plantains.
And so many other posts. So, and who's this? Tell them about.
That is Chef Vikas Khanna, a family friend and a very famous chef in India. And I've met him a few times, and he's very inspirational. Right now, he's doing a lot of work with providing meals to people in India during lockdown. I think it was something like 1 million meals, which is absolutely mind-blowing. So it was it was a great experience meeting him.
And he was our guest back in episode 54. Krishna, you're episode 102. And he was episode number 54. And there's a picture of him with the Obamas. And he has distributed more than 2 million meals. And the New York Times has since written about him. And we're very proud of Vikas Khanna. Krishna has also had the chance to spend some time in various New York City restaurants in the back of the kitchen cooking as well. So I'm going to now switch over to reading 40 different fathers on Father's Day from around the world. You'll all want to stay tuned to that. The kids get a few minutes off. And then they're going to come down as I finish up, and they're going to join me in reading the names of the victims of police violence that we've been doing, thanks to Krishna's booking of Professor Kimberly Crenshaw, who asked us to do that. She was amazing, right, Krishna?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Mark is asking, does the fact that we're out of lockdown in New York and we've come to Fire Island mean that we're going to end the COVID shows, the daily COVID shows? The answer is no, we're not. Partly because we're in lockdown now here. We go out in masks. Everything is in lockdown on Fire Island. And we're going to continue to tell the stories that we can. We're covering 3 crises on this show. We're covering the healthcare crisis, the financial crisis, as well as the racial injustice crisis in America. So goodbye for a few minutes, Durga and Krishna. Thanks for being here. Greatest Father's Day gift ever. Thank you. Love you very much. And we'll see you downstairs in about 10 minutes, okay?
All right.
Okay.
See
lovely.
you.
Bye. Love
Bye.
you.
And those are all 2 awesome kids, and I'm so grateful to them. Now we're going to change pace a little bit, and we're going to bring you our Father's Day greetings that we have put together for you. We're very proud of this. We did it this morning on the Father's Day show with Tom Jolly from the New York Times. And now we're going to be able to do this for you with a lot more fathers have been added and father figures. And a couple of unusual twists in here. So you're going to see all of that right now on this show. I want to start by just acknowledging how grateful I am to everybody for participating in this. 50% of our proceeds go to Tom Jolly's favorite charity. It is called the unusualsuspects.org. It's a theater group in LA that works with at-risk youth and others. So we will give 50% of our proceeds here. You might ask, why do we do this? It's a lot of work on our part. We're doing it in part to celebrate fathers. Also, our Digimentors company that people hire to do virtual events and social and digital consulting, we're learning what works and what doesn't. And so this little exercise helps us understand how to crowdsource images, how to crowdsource stories, how to create a new revenue line. And we did this for Mother's Day with 25 moms, and we have more than 40 dads tonight and father figures as well. So thank you all for joining us, and let's go. Let's celebrate dads. If you sent in something, we've put your dad or father figure on this. If we misspell, mispronounce, etc., my fault. I take responsibility. But I do want to thank Neil Parekh for putting this together, my partner in many digital shenanigans, and one here too. So call your family around, make sure you're watching, because we're going to start right now by celebrating various dads on this show. So let's start right now, and full screen so we can read the names to you and celebrate these fathers right now. And let's get started. First up, happy Father's Day to Howard Cabot. Thank you for being an incredible role model to all of us, the Cabot kids and grandkids, Heather, Neeraj, Melissa, Courtney, Adam, Tyler, Ileana, Sam, Ian, Penelope, and Alex. And Heather is my dear classmate, and she's married to my other dear classmate, Neeraj. We all went to Columbia Journalism School a lifetime ago. Happy Father's Day to Jason, the best dad out there, who makes every day so much fun. Thank you for making us laugh and for resolving all our tech tickets every day. Love, Jenny, Brook, and Brett. And Jenny is on our Digimentors team and a fabulous addition and former student. We're just very grateful to have her on our team. And we're going to keep going here, folks. Happy Father's Day to Sidney Kirshner from Ann Kirshner. May his memory be a blessing. A wonderful photograph you see here, World War II vet, and Ann Kirshner's dad, Sidney. And Ann's a good friend and just an inspiration in so many things she does. We love you, Ann, and we love seeing this photo. Happy Father's Day to Sandeep Janarkar from Kriti Ram Janarkar. And I love this photo. This is my former student and dear friend, Sandeep Janarkar. And thinking of you, Sandeep, he now has my hairstyle. So it's good to see him here with a full head of hair. And happy Father's Day, Sandeep. Happy Father's Day to George Dolly, who passed away in 2001 from Jacqueline, Maria, David, Michael, Richard, and Mommy. If there's any immortality to be had among us human beings, it is certainly only in the love that we leave behind. Fathers like ours don't ever die. Leo Buscaglia, and this is a beautiful comment. And our friend Jacqueline Dolly was our guest last night on Career Strategies, and she did a great job last night. Episode number 101. Hope you will check it out in my archives. Everyone, please do check it out, and may his memory be a blessing. Thank you all for staying tuned into this and being here with us. I'm so grateful to all of you for being part of this experience. We're going to keep going. You're going to meet some amazing dads, as you all have already. My grandfather, or Tata in Tamil, was a beautiful man inside and out. He could connect with babies and teenagers and elderly people with his big smile and lovely singing voice. I miss him and his love every day. Happy Father's Day to my grandfather, Ramesh, from Kriti Ram Janarkar. May his memory be a blessing. Ramesh passed away, and we were just so lucky to be with him on Fire Island just last year, and the entire Janarkar family, and our thoughts are with them. And thank you, Kriti, for sending this in, and your Tata was an incredible man. We had a great conversation on Fire Island just a year ago. I'm sorry that this image is just going to give me 1 second, folks. The next photo suddenly had an image issue, problem with the photograph. Just stay tuned, folks. I'm just going to fix that right now. I'm not sure how that happened. Let's see here. We sometimes happens with technology that everything you plan doesn't go exactly the way you need it to go. So I'm just going to fix this because it's so important that we fix this properly. So please stay tuned while I fix it. Just give me 1 second, and thank you all for watching. I am very grateful to you all for being here. We are surprised that sometimes things happen with tech like this, but we will get to it. Just stay tuned, folks, for just a minute. This will be totally worth it, and we want to make sure that we have the next person ready to go, and we want to be able to show that to you properly. And that's why I am just going to take a second, and sorry we're doing this on the air, but this is part of the adventure of doing things in real time. And we're just, again, thank you all for your patience as we try to figure this out. So just give me 1 second, and thank you all for being here with us. Just 1 second here. We are almost there. I'm trying to fix this, and I know that watching me fix this while I'm looking around doesn't make a lot of sense. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come in here and just put a cover on this, and just stay tuned, folks. We'll be right in. I'm going to go in and just find the image that I need. I see that our friend Neil Parekh has joined me in helping me to fix this, but Neil, I think I got it. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to find a particular photo that that just had a problem with it. I had just checked it all out before we went on the air, and sometimes technology has issues. Neil, if you want to come on behind the scenes and just say hello to everybody and tell us why we decided to do this, Neil.
Hey everyone, this is Neil Parekh, and I just wanted I put up the correct image tree so we can show it to folks.
So you got both of them in there. So do I just refresh the screen? Is that what I do?
I just shared my screen, Sree. I had the. This is you're showing.
Yeah. So okay. So then do me a favor, Neil. Hit full screen on the lower right.
Yep. Let me do that 1 second. There we go.
All right. Thank you, Neil. And you've checked the others as well. They're all working now. And
I'll check the others while you're doing this, Sree.
Okay, great. Okay, so here we are. Thank you all for your patience. Fun with technology. This is in recognition of Jamila Aziz Sukhdeo from Daryl Sukhdeo, my mother who raised the 5 of us as a single mother because my father was a deadbeat, racist drunk. My mother was my mother and father. So I want to say Happy Father's Day to my mother and extend those wishes to all single mothers. Very important point, Neil. I want to hear your thoughts on this on Father's Day.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. First of all, I helped put these together, and Daryl, first of all, on my copy, apologize for the extra L in your name. We did correct it in Shree's copy. I was frankly floored when I read your submission because of the honesty and the candor. We had someone mention this morning, and I think it might have been I don't want to say the name to get it wrong, but someone mentioned that they had a difficult relationship with their father and that they were able to reconcile before they passed away. And Daryl, to see your comment honoring your mom because she was a single mom and she served both as your father and your mother, because your father, to use your words, was a deadbeat racist drunk. I think it's incredible to share with the New York Times the New York Times read-along family this morning and the Sree COVID-19 call family this evening. And that really, to me, speaks to how much faith and trust we have in each other, that we can be this vulnerable and this open, that you could share that type of detail. That's not the kind of thing that people usually share with each other. I just thought it was incredible to put that out there. So thank you again for your honesty and your candor.
Thank you, Neil. I'm going to take over from here. I'm going to switch out
Sure.
and take on my screen here. So thank you very much, Neil, and thank you for this great initiative. We were very proud to do this for Mother's Day, and now we're doing it for Father's Day.
Sure. So just and take it over.
Okay. Thank you, Neil. So let's go over here, and we'll pick up here. My wife Rupa says this to her dad, KV Unnikrishnan, my father-in-law. Your generosity of spirit, inspiring presence, unwavering integrity, sweet laugh, and quirky humor made us who we are. You taught us never to be beat down by the world. You were way ahead of the crowds, teaching your daughters the same lessons as your son: ambition, strength, kindness, and wit. You hold us to high standards and taught us to treat the pauper as well as you would treat a king, to do well all that you do, that you need to have the opportunity in hand before deciding to refuse it, to see the greatness within oneself, even when the world is telling you otherwise, and so much more. Thank you for loving us unconditionally, Rupa, Deepa, and Srinath. I love that she was able to remember all those sayings. And Neil, as a father yourself, you know that your daughter and my children will remember the things we say to them. And here clearly Rupa remembers so many different sayings. And we had a wonderful time with Emily on our show. We got to hear from 17-year-olds tonight, but a few episodes ago we heard from a 7-year-old. Neil's daughter was our guest and was fantastic. Okay, let's keep going. And happy birthday to my father-in-law. Our next, this is Happy Father's Day to Srinath Unnikrishnan, the best dad I could have ever asked for, from Rishi, Deepa, Momo, and Teddy. And this is my brother-in-law, Srinath Unnikrishnan, out in California. I hope he sees this either live or later. And he loves his animals. He even grows chickens. And love you, Srinath. Happy Father's Day to Vikram Mohan. Happy Papa's Day to my daddy bear, my hero and clown, who teaches me each day to be funny, kind, and cool. I love you, Papa. And that's from Neil. And Neil is my cousin Vikram's wonderful, handsome little boy, Neil. So great to see this here. Happy Father's Day to Naya and Ria's granddads. And this is from the Mitra, Kalita, and Nitin Mukul family. And this is Mitra's dad and Nitin's dad in a fun photo together. So happy Father's Day to granddads. Happy Grandfather's Day as well. Happy Father's Day to my amazing dad, as well as to my younger brother, who has also been an excellent father to my 2 nephews, and to many, many great fathers, from Mark Lee. Mark has been a guest on our show, and we are very grateful to Mark for his friendship and his teaching us how to be an ally of African American folks. And I love this message from him to his amazing dad. Happy Father's Day to Cookie, the man who has given me every valuable life lesson I will ever need. Thank you for continuing to teach me every day. I love you, Jenny. And that's Jenny Lazarus, who you met earlier. And thank you all for watching, and thank you for all your comments as they keep coming in. We're so grateful to do this. We are live on the air every day with the COVID-19 show. And if you missed it, Saturday morning, Sunday mornings at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, we read the New York Times out loud. And today we read the New York Times with Tom Jolly, the print editor of the New York Times. So please look up my archives at youtube.com/Sreenet. Happy Father's Day to Bruce, a wonderful and inspiring dad who took care of families for 30 years as a physician and brought over 7,000 babies into the world. Much love from Carl, also known as Middle C. And I love this photograph, and Neil's a big baseball fan. So here we are at Nationals Stadium in Washington. Really nice to see that here. And it's called Nationals Park, I believe. In gratitude to my father, C.B. Rucker, and my husband, Wayne, thinking of all the people missing their fathers and father figures today, from Paula Kiger. Paula is an awesome part of our team on the New York Times Read Along and at Digimentors. We're very grateful to her. Folks, all of these that you're seeing, half the proceeds and the money we make goes to Tom Jolly's favorite charity, The Unusual Suspects, a theater group that is out in California. Happy Father's Day to the two best dads, Ed and Mohan. We love you so much. Thanks for all you do, Prarthna and Cyrus. And Mohan's my dear uncle, my mother's brother, and his daughter is Prarthna. And you're seeing Cyrus in the middle there, and my cousin-in-law, Ed, who is a fabulous part of our California family and our family. We're so grateful to have them in our lives. Oops, sorry. Again, I think we might have a tech issue here. I'm just going to go look at the file.
Sree, I just switched it over to mine.
This is a good way for us to do this, Neil. Thank you for doing this. Happy Father's Day to Alan Katz, an amazing dad and husband. Love Rose, Simone, Andrew, Nathan, and David. And Rose Horowitz is part of our New York Times family, but also our Digimentors family, and someone who has been a great friend because she has put together this read along every single day for 102 days. Nobody else would have been able to do that except her and Vandana Menon, our great producers. So thank you very much. And let's go to the next card. This is happy, it says, to the world's best father, Sree Sreenivasan. That's my brother Srikant from Shiravati and Shivai, my wonderful nephew and my sister-in-law. We are very grateful to them. They live in Dubai. I saw them twice already, Neil, if you can believe it. And in Dubai on my way to India, and now I get to see them here. So this is great. Let's keep going. Our next one is, I want you to read this, Neil.
Sure, I'd be honored to. Happy Father's Day to D.N. Tolia. That's my grandfather in the middle, my maternal grandfather. My mom submitted this. He read the Times of India every day and listened to BBC News. He's a very loving and intelligent person. And he actually spent many years in Myanmar, formerly Burma, where he took the family before World War II and had to flee when the Japanese were invading. So my mom, Sudha Parekh, submitted it. May his memory be a blessing as well. This picture was taken, I believe, in '81. That's me in the bottom right corner. My sister is in the bottom left. And that's my dad, who is in the top right of the screen.
That's a great photo and very, very nice to see him. All right, let's go to the next one. And yeah, I think the cursor is causing these images to be there, and that's nice when we can see. Look at this. This is a great picture from our colleague Steve Taylor. Happy Father's Day to Pat Taylor. And I have a great photo of Steve on my balcony, so I like seeing this picture as well. So that's really cool. Let's go to the next one. And I should say Steve is an awesome part of our Digimentors team. And in fact, he and I have a production in a few minutes, so I got to speed this along here with the Hong Kong University. To our Appa, Dad, Chandi Tata, and Ram Tata from Sujana, Keval, Kedar, Sajan, and Sarika, with love. Happy Father's Day to H.K. Chandrasekhar, Krishna Ramanathan. Thank you for always being there and always supporting our dreams. From Sujana Chandrasekhar, who is one of the two doctors on our brand new show, She's on Call, which as the second episode launched today. I hope you will all take a look at She's on Call. Follow on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc. She's on Call is the new show. Let's go to our next set of. This is really emotional for us to see this. Happy Father's Day from Sunny Slaughter to my 5 brothers, Ahmad Ward, Sree Sreenivasan, Martin Weinberg, Neil Parekh, and Ron Thomas. Thank you for being men of courage, character, and dignity. Love Sunny Slaughter. Sunny is an awesome lady who's been on multiple shows, and that she would, by the way, spend money to do this for us is incredible, Neil, and we're very, very grateful to her. And thank you so much, Sunny, for being a role model to so many of us in many different ways. Our next greeting is from Tom Jolly to his dad, also Tom Jolly. Thank you for everything and for always being there for me. And thank you, Tom, for being there today. Our next greeting is an unusual one. Happy Father's Day to all the dads who passed away, especially during this novel coronavirus time. May your legacy and loving spirits live on forever, and may they rest in heavenly peace. From Patricia Freudenberg. What a wonderful gesture. Again, spending money to call out and shout out all the fathers who have passed away. We're very grateful to you, Patricia. Our next greeting is to a dear friend of all our shows, Renee Edelman, wishes happy Father's Day to Dan Edelman. Happy Father's Day, Papa, you're my hero. Love, Renee Edelman. May Dan's memory be a blessing. Dan, Renee, and I are all alumni of Columbia Journalism School, and I learned so much from working with Renee and learning from Dan, and we had the honor of opening the Daniel Edelman Plaza at Columbia Journalism School, and we'd love anybody who's gone there to make sure they see that at the school. Next, we say Happy Father's Day to Sri Hari Pillai from Rukmini L. Pillai, and that's my cousin's husband, Sri Hari, and Rukmini is their awesome daughter. Happy Father's Day, and glad you are seeing this and we're able to submit this. And now we are taking a trip to my cousin in Australia who submitted this. Happy Father's Day to TP Sitaram and Navneet Sitaram from Deepa, Navneet, Kami, Odell, Devi, Manisha, and Sufawadi. We are just so grateful to have them all in our family. That's our extended family that extends from Dubai, Australia, Thailand, etc. And we're just so glad they are part of our lives. So grateful. All right, this is a Happy Father's Day to Alfred Anthony from Bob Anthony. Since my father's birthday often fell on Mother's Day, it's only fair that my mother share Father's Day. May their memories be a blessing. From our friend Bob Anthony at New York Bob, dear friend, who was the third guest on our show and the very first guest on the very first WBAI show I ever hosted 3 months ago. Thank you so much, Bob Anthony. And now, Happy Father's Day to Sumarsanko Sastrovardoyo from Radian Sastrovardoyo. This is Papa and me in late 1963. We had a challenging relationship, but I'm happy we forgave each other before he died in December 2018. I love you, Papa, and may his memory be a blessing. As Neil said on the morning show, it isn't easy for folks to share like this publicly, and that's a very special thing that he was able to share.
And Sree, I just wanted to note that that was the one I was mentioning earlier, that we had someone else make a reference to a difficult relationship. Rahadin, thank you so much for sharing that as well. It means a lot to be that open with our community. So thank you.
Thank you. We're very grateful. Now we go to Manju, who's been watching the show and says, Happy Father's Day to PV Natarajan from Lakshmi Manju Natarajan and Kailash Amritur and our daughters Shaila and Shreya. As a child, I adored you. As a teenager, I argued with you. As an adult, I enjoyed you. And now as a mother, I'm forever grateful to you. Thank you for a lifetime of laughter, life lessons, and unconditional love. I can't wait to see you soon. That is just a terrific greeting. And now let's go to Kerala, India for Happy Father's Day to Sharmaji from Ashok Sharma. He was a great leader, a social worker who was a Gandhian communist. And so you folks will have to look that up to learn what that is. And here is Happy Father's Day to Andrew Lee from his three boys, Miles, Theo, and Eddie. Eddie's in the middle. Miles and Theo are twins who were born on my 40th birthday. And happy birthday to, and happy Father's Day to our friend and my Digimentor, Andrew Lee, co-founder of Digimentors. All right, we're going to go on to our next card here. It says, Happy Father's Day to Benjamin Bernstein, and his memory is a blessing, from Linda, his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Awesome photo. Linda is part of our Digimentors team, and I love seeing this. Linda, thank you for submitting it. We're very, very grateful. Let's go to our next photo. Happy Father's Day to Neil Parekh from Pam and Emily. Thank you for being a great dad, even if you think that being a Yankee fan is part of Emily's ethnic background. You'll have to watch this morning's show to learn what that specific reference to, but I love seeing this picture of fathers and daughters at ball games, and look at that ball game. Crowded stadium at the new Yankee Stadium, and just great to see that. Let's go on to the next card, please.
So the next card, Sree, is one from my dad. Happy Father's Day to Prakash Parekh from me. Thank you for giving me my love of the New York Times and for naming me after Neil Armstrong. May my dad's memory be a blessing. As you know, he passed away about 11 years ago in 2009.
And we're very grateful to Prakash for connecting us in multiple ways, including sending you as his stand-in for my wedding. And his love of the New York Times, he asked that he be cremated with the print Sunday New York Times edition, and to have Tom Jolly read the New York Times with you first at his home, and then here it tells you something that Prakash is smiling from wherever he is. We're very grateful to him. All right, happy Father's Day coming up next. To my dad, Acha, from me. Here's me and my dad in 1970, and here's my dad in 2010. And even today, my dad carries me and makes me do everything that I do is only possible because of my father. So happy Father's Day. Dad, I want to make sure we have another card, a couple of cards. So Neil, I'm going to just take over here.
Yeah, of course.
And
you took out your...
Yeah, thanks, Neil. Oops, let me just add my card back in here. And then I've got to actually move pretty fast because I have a show to do at 11 o'clock with Hong Kong University. So we'll be doing that very quickly. Happy Father's Day to my father's brothers, who are my other dads, T.P. Gopalakrishnan on the extreme right, T.P. Madhusudanan in the middle, and T.P. Sitaram. And I love that you all met Durga and Krishna, and there they are on the shoulders of my dad and his youngest brother. I love this picture, and I just had to show it to everyone. I'm also thinking, obviously, of my grandparents. I know, as everybody else is, of their grandparents as well. And then I want to show you this picture. We couldn't be Father's Day for me, especially as I have been telling everybody, thank the mentors on your life, in your life before before you forget. And so I'm saying hello to a mix of different people here. I don't have the time to tell you all their stories because I could do a whole hour on each of them. Walt Mossberg on the upper left, technology journalist. Charles Cunnincarroll, my godfather out in New Jersey, amazing inventor, and we're going to try to do a show with him. He has a book about the inventor in you, which a lot of people will love. Also, Mervyn Block right next to him. That's the third from left. Merv is my writing guru and dear friend. He was my professor 25 years ago. Next to him is Donald Rubin, founder of the Rubin Museum. He's a mentor to me because he built a life that I would be honored to live and build 1/10, 100th of the life he has built in terms of his family, his impact on the world. Next to him is Peter Bhatia, the editor of the Detroit Free Press, and a dear friend and somebody who really made the South Asian Journalists Association what it is today. Also, shout out on the extreme right on the first row to Dan Foreman, my TV guru and mentor, who gave me a chance at being on television. And this episodes and these shows are a tribute to the work that he put in to make that possible. On the bottom row, extreme left, Chip Scanlon, who is my writing coach and guru. Next to him is David Kleitel, who passed away. May his memory be a blessing. My teaching guru. In the middle is Walter Cronkite. He's not my mentor, though of course the mentor to so many of us, but behind him in the distance is Peter Herford, who was my guest this week on episode number 95 of my last Sunday show, and I know many of you watched. He's there in the room where it happened when Walter Cronkite got the message that President Kennedy had been shot. That's him behind him on the wire service. And please watch that episode 95. Go to my YouTube and watch that, please. Next to him, the awesome Sig Gisler, a former administrator of the Pulitzer Prizes, and who taught with me digital media. And he taught me so much. He was not Mr. Digital Media, but he taught me that digital media is about media before it's about the digital stuff. And he's my mentor. Also, big hello to Reggie Stewart, who taught me all I know about leading a nonprofit organization, how to have an impact in the nonprofit world, and my dear friend and fellow Columbia alum. And then in the photo at the lower right extreme is Kevin McKenna, who was my mentor at the New York Times when I spent a summer there, and we've been friends ever since. Also, Columbia Journalism School. So way too many people, but I'm doing this so I want to inspire all of you to thank your mentors. Please, everyone, thank your mentors. And maybe, Neil, one day we'll do a mentors show like this and let everybody come in and greet their mentors. And finally, I think we have one more card that I'm going to show everyone. And it's this one from my kids. They surprised me this morning from my children. Dear Papa, we're so awed by the number of lives you are able to touch, connect, and inspire every single day. Your strength and courage invigorates us, and we're so grateful that you have instilled your spirit and joy in us. You have encouraged us to pursue what we love, and we will forever be cheering you on through all your endeavors as you change the world. We love you more than anything. Durga, Krishna, and Tara, our dog. I am so grateful to all of you for being here with me and for following this incredible journey that I'm on. I'm so grateful to all of you. We just have a couple of minutes left. If my kids join me again, we will bring them in so they can help read the names. But right now, I need to read the names because we are running out of time. So let me do that here. This is a sacred thing that we do. And I want to, and Neil, you can join me in reading the names. This is something sacred that we do on this show every night. And this is Titus Kaffer's painting on the cover of Time magazine. On the right is a young George Floyd with Larcenia Floyd, his mom. He would die. He would be killed 2 years later after she did, almost to the day, and would be buried right next to her. And please come on in, kids. Neil will also help us read. And I'm just so moved by this photograph every time I see it and this painting. So we're going to start. Neil, read us the first 3 or 4 names, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure. The names are Trayvon Martin, Yvette Smith, Eric Garner, Michael Brown.
Laquan McDonald, Tanisha Anderson, Akai Gurley, Tamir Rice.
Jerame Reed, Natasha McKenna, Eric Harris.
Walter Scott, Freddie Gray, William Chapman.
Sandra Bland, Darius Stewart, Samuel DuBose.
Janet Wilson, Kaylin Rockmore, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile.
Joseph Mann, Terrence Crutcher, Chad Robertson.
Jordan Edwards, Aaron Bailey, Stephen Clark.
Stefan Clark, Danny Ray Thomas, Antoine Rose, Botham Jean, Tatiana Jefferson, Michael Dean, Ahmad Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd. And to that list, we must add, of course, Rayshard Brooks and so many other folks who are part of the story. Durga and Krishna join me in the back. Neil's there. And it's so important that we say these names. And we're just thankful. This is the end of our Father's Day. We're thankful to everyone who has participated. I'm rushing this at the end because it's already 10:49, 2 hours after we started, but I also have a 11 o'clock interview that I'm doing, and so I'm going to step out in just a minute. Thank you, Neil, for the Father's Day. Great bookend, starting with Tom Jolly in the New York Times read-along and ending with this. Kids, anything else you want to say?
Happy Father's Day, everyone.
Yeah.
Father's Day.
And thank you guys for agreeing to do this. And I hope not too many regrets. Did your phones blow up?
Not really.
Not yet. So, okay. So we hope
Great.
it is that way.
Great job, Durga Krishna. Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
And there were so many great comments coming in from everywhere. And there's Gopika, your cousin, my aunt, my cousin, your aunt, and Lata, my my aunt watching, so many other folks watching. Thank you. And my grandma Lekha has written in, and so many other people here. Really great. And Vandana says it's so hard to see your parents as people, and that is true. And happy Father's Day. Linda says, don't be stressed. I am stressed because we wanted to make sure this is perfect, and life isn't always perfect. That's one of the things we learned. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you soon. Durga, you can hit end broadcast. Go ahead. I'll press this, and then you can press the second time. Go ahead. Okay, say bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Be safe. Bye.
It takes a second.